Just 2 weekends remain in the TC America powered by Skip Barber series, and right here this weekend, we're about ready to go for the first of a triple header of activity from Barber Motorsports Park, located just outside of Birmingham, Alabama. Hello and welcome to this beautiful racetrack. My name is Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish is alongside, and we've got plenty to talk about with 3 races here this weekend, 2 still remaining after this weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But Calvin, we could be talking about a new champion, really a repeat champion in some respects, as soon as the end of this 25-minute race.
Yeah, for Jeff Ricker, what a year he's put together, Ryan. 8 wins, 3 podiums from the 11 events so far. If he scores 8 points today, even with PJ Gronke, who's second in points, grabbing a win, that would be enough. So he's basically got 8 fingers and 1 thumb on the trophy right now. We'll see what happens today.
We'll be keeping tabs on that throughout the course of the day today in this 25-minute race. We've got beautiful weather conditions, if a bit hot down on the grid, with track temperatures already up into triple digits here this afternoon. But there is a nice little breeze, and again, not a super long race, just 25 minutes. And so temperature should not be a major concern for the drivers behind the wheel. Third member of the broadcast team here today is DJ Clark, and DJ is standing by. Let's hear from him now.
Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Cal. And I am here to tell you it is a hot day down in Birmingham, but it's not just for the spectators that have to be worried about the heat. We've got to be worried about not only the tires, but the drivers in these cars as well. It's only a 25-minute race, but the driver's going to have to be very, very careful about how they bring these Pirelli tires up to temperature and keeping them in that operating window. With heats such as this, it could be very, very sketchy for them. And then we've got to worry about the drivers themselves. We have to remember that we're entering into a heat index right now that's pushing 98 degrees, which means that these drivers' core temperatures could rise to a dangerous level where they've got to be worried about actually their mental acuity starting to be affected by the heat. So cool suit's going to be in use. Pretty much any trick you can get to try to keep that core temperature down. It is the most trying of conditions for all of these drivers, but these are some of the best in the TC field, and if anybody can pull it off today, it's going to be them.
Thank you, DJ. Stay cool down there if you can. Appreciate the updates from the pit lane. And it will be a hot one for the drivers, but maybe most importantly for the cars and the tires. These cars very much based on their production counterparts, their road-going counterparts, and keeping an eye on temperature always a part of touring car racing.
It is, and that means the best place is out front. But it's not going to be an easy win for Jeff Ricker here. There's 5 cars separated by half a second here at the front end of this grid. Great to see that Toyota have another strong weekend. Jonathan Neudorf sits there on the outside of the front row. Had that big win at VIR, another podium to his name. So had some issues down there at JMF. The number 3 car didn't have a new wiring harness put in here yesterday with the support of Toyota. So they're looking to see if that car is in good shape here for the race today for Constantino.
Couple of other cars that have gone through some changes, some little gremlins that have had to be dealt with. Eric Kuhn, certainly one of them, qualified a strong 3rd. It's a new power plant in that car. They've replaced the turbocharger as well. Same story for PJ Gronke, who missed the 2nd practice yesterday as they replaced a turbo on that car, but things appear good to go. He starts 5th. Got a glimpse there of one of the newcomers, Alana Carter from Canada. We'll talk more about her story throughout the course of the show, but she's getting ready for her first ever touring car start. Does have GT4 experience over in the UK as well as here in the States in WRL earlier this year, but very exciting to have the newcomer on the grid. And another newcomer is Chris Taylor, who starts out back, FTG Racing, continuing to work on their Mazda program. He's been the car chief on this car this year when Sally McNulty has been behind the wheel, but gets the call up, a veteran of the club racing scene in North America, multi-time SCCA division champion in a couple different categories over the years, and has experience at the runoffs too. So we'll see what he can do starting out back as that team continues the development work on this Mazda 3. Coming a little bit closer to the start of the race, Cal, let's talk about this racetrack. First of all, it's such a beautiful environment. Love coming to Barber. The museum is top-notch. The grounds are top-notch. But this racetrack, don't sleep on the challenge that this place presents.
No, it's really busy. You don't really have much chance to rest around this circuit. There's only about 80, 90 feet of elevation change, but it seems more than that. And there's really some blind crests approaching some of the really important corners here. So it keeps you on your toes. I think it is quite well worn now. So I think tire wear is only a 25-minute race, so it shouldn't be a big factor in TC. But I think over the course of the weekend, tire is certainly a factor in terms of degradation, particularly with the heat when you combine those two together. But it's an interesting racetrack. Not a lot of overtaking opportunities. The prime one is in the middle of the circuit down into turn 5 as you crest that hill in turn 4 and plunge down the hill there. There'll be a lot of moves being attempted to be made there, at least going into that corner.
Track opened in 2003, designed originally with motorcycles in mind, but it has emerged as a great four-wheel racing circuit as well. Everything from Indy cars down to club-level racing has been here in the past couple of decades, and it was a nice addition to the calendar a year ago. I think a lot of the paddock maybe didn't have a lot of experience here at this racetrack before last year, but it seemed very well received when the paddock turned up here for the first time in a very long time.
Well, it's so impressive when you drive in here. You just can't believe how meticulous the preparation and the grounds are. As you said, we call it the Augusta of motorsports in terms of, it's just superb. Cut through the trees here. But as a ribbon of asphalt, you really got to be very precise with. I relate it to also golfing it there. You got to really line up the hole accordingly. Same thing with these corners.
Let's look at how the grid will line up. Jeff Ricca, going for a second consecutive championship, has the pole position. He'll have Jonathan Neudorf, who's in a fine run of form, alongside for JMF Motorsports. Eric Coons, fresh power plant installed. Good qualifying effort. He'll start third next to newcomer Alana Carter. Down in the third row of the grid, that's where you'll find PJ Gronke trying to keep his championship hopes on life support today. Antonio Costantino alongside in the sixth starting position. Then in row 4, it's Connor Attrell. Welcome back to TC America to Connor. James Klimas will start for the Skip Barber Racing Team in the 8th position, and the newcomer Chris Taylor, series rookie. He's been on the other side of this. He's been a championship-winning chief mechanic in TC America as recently as 2021, but making his race debut. Very exciting opportunity for the native of Elroy, Texas. That's the field getting ready for the start of the race. 2 formation laps here this weekend, as it's a relatively short lap, and everyone wanting to make sure the tires are in the right operating window for Jeff Ricca. Perfect situation, Calvin. Starting up front, he knows if he can just finish in a decent position, he's got this championship all but wrapped up.
Yeah, P6 will clinch it for him, whatever PJ does. I think for PJ Gronke, I don't think he's got any thoughts or dreams that he can still win this championship. I think he's really got to think about Jonathan Neudorf, sort of form that in that Toyota has shown from mid-season on. Whether he can catch him. There's only a 28-point delta between those two drivers now in the drivers' standings.
Exactly so. Did have a chat briefly with PJ earlier in the weekend. Big smile on his face, as he always has at the racetrack. Such enthusiast for his motorsport, and this was the site where he clinched a TCA championship 1 year ago. Let's not forget, a 2-time champion in various classes in TC America over the years, but also good to see so many up-and-comers joining the series. Neudorf with a good, strong run at the tail end of the year this year. Great qualifying effort for Eric Coons, and then Alana Carter making her debut. First time she's raced a front-wheel drive car since she raced a home-built front-wheel drive Honda Accord at the circle track she grew up racing at when she was young. Comes from a racing family. This is a different challenge altogether, but she's been really enjoying the challenge so far.
And super impressive in qualifying there to put that car on the second row with much more experienced drivers behind the wheel of that Hyundai. Really, really great start to the weekend. Let's see what she can do in race trim.
Exactly. So the field making its way around, getting ready to go for the start of the first of 3 races here this weekend. Lights off on the safety car as it makes its way towards the pit lane, and the field will come into alignment here shortly. Will be the Hyundai of Jeff Ricca, the championship leader, starting on the pole position. Right now front, though, at the moment is Jonathan Neudorf. They've got to get this lined up accordingly, or is Ricca missing Whoa, this is an interesting development. Jeff is missing. In fact, he's made his way to the pit lane.
Wow.
So we'll send DJ to go investigate that. That means Neudorf effectively inherits the pole position here. PJ Gronke very aggressive in the early going. From 5th on the grid, slots his way up into 2nd place, but the battle's not done yet. He's side by side with his teammate, Eric Coons. Whoa, little twitch there at Apex. Coons has to try and reel it back in and does so, but huge drama from a championship perspective for Jeff Ricca, who has dropped all the way to the back.
Well, we talked about PJ Gronke not dreaming about this championship still. Well, suddenly seeing his team leader peel into the pit lane there. I've got to look for a replay on that start, though. Gronke looked like he was switched lanes there and was passing cars before the stripe, but it was very close. Hopefully he's on the right side of that line.
Well, one thing to keep in mind, too, a rule change this year. No longer do you have to make it to half distance to score points. So Jeff Ricca at least guaranteed 9th place points, which are 2 points awarded for finishing 9th, regardless of what happens from here on out, just because he was able to at least take part in the formation lap. So something to track. We've sent DJ. We'll get you an update on that as soon as we can. There's the Ricca Autosport crew pouring over the front of the car, and it's been a near perfect year for Jeff. We have not seen him in this kind of strife hardly at all, if at all, over the course of 2025.
No, I think we saw he had to come from a long ways back to climb back on a podium, not off the podium all season long. But for PJ Gronke, he still has to win this race, finishing 2nd with a couple of points guaranteed for Ricca. Championship still could go Ricca's way today.
First lap complete, and it is Neudorf leading PJ Gronke. Then it's Carter up to the 3rd spot ahead of Eric Coons. We'll keep an eye on the battles, but let's get an update on the Jeff Ricca story with DJ.
I just talked to the Gen Racer Ricca Autosport team, Ryan, and they said Jeff felt a leak on those opening pace laps and brought it down into pit lane. You can see right now the team underneath the car trying to take a look at exactly what it is. They're trying to diagnose exactly what the problem is, calling out for pliers right now as they look underneath that car, but it is not looking good for your championship points leader.
Well, not looking good either for the championship runner-up. Cal, you said it. At the start, PJ Gronke very aggressive, and race control has ruled there was a start procedure violation. So the car that runs 2nd in the race, 2nd in the championship, will have to serve a drive-through.
Yeah, with that pretty much clinches the title for Jeff Ricca in such unusual circumstances sitting on pit lane, because no way PJ's going to drop back through this field and climb back through with the amount of time he's got to work with.
Yeah, barring a yellow maybe, but that said, not much time in these races to recover from any kind of a miscue, and Ricca's lead coming in here was 117 points. 4 races remain after today with a total of 100 points on offer, so as long as Jeff led by 100 points or more at the end of today's race, he would hold the tiebreaker for most number of wins. He's the winningest driver in the series this year. There was really nothing PJ could do as long as that lead was 100 points or greater, and it certainly looks like it should remain in that window with this drive-through here for PJ. I think we've got to look at the start of the race, Cal, and you can talk us through what you saw in real time.
Yeah, just take a look here. You've obviously got an unusual circumstance with the pole sitter having gone missing. Look to the 5th car in the pack there, and we get the green and watch it from this shot. You can really see PJ just suddenly jumps out of line here. He's making a move before we get to the stripe, which is a no-no.
Yep, you have to stay in the column until you get to the start line, and PJ did appear to jump out, so that is really costly. Drops him down to 8th and at least 18 seconds behind the leader of this race, which is Jonathan Neudorf, and what a story that would be, looking for his 3rd podium of the season, his 2nd win of the season, in a year in which it certainly has been a development year for that Toyota Corolla. But it seems like they've turned a corner about midway through the year, got that win at VIR, and then really impressive in particular, I think, at Road America, which on paper was a track we thought might not suit that car.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a bit of a switch. I think there's been some BOP hits to the Hyundais, which certainly slowed them down and brought the Toyotas ever closer to them. They try to get a bit more power of that Toyota, but I think that's for a later day right now.
Yep. Let's hear from DJ. He's got more for us down in the pits on these developing stories with championship contenders.
Yeah, Jeff Ricca still down in pit lane. Team underneath the car right now. They tell me they think it was a boost leak, potentially, that is what they are trying to diagnose. Obviously, everything coming from underneath the car, making things a little bit more difficult in the assessment and fixing of this damage.
Yeah, and it's brutally hot. I mean, even though they hadn't even done a lap at full speed, just the temperatures soaring, so tough for those mechanics to go to work there.
That has been a point of concern for some of these cars over the last couple of weekends. I heard from PJ Gronke earlier this weekend, and they did do a turbo change ahead of qualifying, and that caused him to miss practice number 2. And I think Eric Koons had a similar issue. They went ahead and changed engines as well, but had a couple of concerns there. And again, it's worth noting these are still cars that are very closely related to the road-going cars. They are constantly being tweaked and worked on, developed over the course of the season. And really, the Hyundais have been super strong all year, but just a few little issues they've had to contend with late in this campaign.
Lana Carter, as you can see there from the graphic, has just popped in the fastest race lap by thousandths of a second over our leader at the moment, Newdorf. She also went purple in Sector 1 on this lap, so she's got a really good lap going, but she is certainly feeling the Ethan Koons right behind her, as I think that's Ricca now heading back out.
Just so, Jeff Ricca heads back onto the track, but yeah, this is a good battle here. This becomes the fight for second and third, Carter and Koons, and these two know each other well, having raced in similar paddocks over the years up in Canada, and actually had a chance to chat with both Alana but also the parents of Eric Koons, and it was apparently the Koons family that helped put the Ricca Autosport team and Hyundai in touch with Alana to put this opportunity together.
And she certainly grasped it with both hands here. Excellent performance, looks very poised here. Not really eating too much into that lead of Newdorf. He sits about 2.5 seconds out front right now, so he's looking comfortable, probably managing things a little bit, you would expect, with that gap to the chasing pack behind him.
Carter does have experience here at Barber, raced here in WRL earlier in the year. But that was a GT4 spec car, certainly not a front-wheel drive car. And she told me that the biggest adjustment for her was getting used to the level of rotation you have to be comfortable with these front-wheel drive cars. Some of the corners, the slow-speed stuff, she says actually driving style pretty similar, but some of the high-speed corners, you have to be very comfortable with the rear of the car sliding around in a way that really would be unsettling in a rear-wheel drive machine.
Yeah, and I think that's where you just got to go back to power and kind of pull the car out of it with that front-wheel drive Hyundai. So yeah, it's certainly a delicate balance there when you're trying to drive a car right on the limit. It's okay at 9/10, but suddenly when the car starts moving around on you, how your instincts kick in can be totally the wrong way when you're used to a rear-wheel drive car. Ricca looks like he's pulled over to the side of the road again there, coming down this front stretch.
Don't know if that was just to let the leaders come through or if that issue has cropped up again. His sector times were pretty good, actually, on that last lap in sectors 2 and 3, so hopefully that's an indication that the car is all right.
Yeah, this really becomes a little mini test session for this group, I would think, just trying to get that car dialed back in. Race 2 is happening a little bit later today, so not a lot of time to recover, and certainly no time to get back on the racetrack.
Antonio Costantino's had a problem. In fact, he's shown as stopped on the course now.
Oh, that was the car that slowed. I thought it was Ricca, but it looks like it may be Costantino.
Yeah, he was running up in the 6th spot.
Could be a Control-Alt-Delete there, possibly. By that, just shutting the car off and refiring, see if it clears the electronics.
DJ in there trying to get the word for us. We'll pass it along when we have it. But yeah, for Costantino, that is the teammate to the race leader, let's not forget. So they'll want to be well aware of whatever the problem might be so they can monitor that with this leading car of Newdorf.
Newdorf's absolutely driving the wheels off this car up front. You can see him using the curbs. He's certainly not resting on his laurels here as the gap now up front is extended up to about 3.5 seconds. So great performance here from the Toyotas. They certainly seem to have the pace here this weekend.
Shaping up to be a really good weekend for JMF
car
Motorsports as
there.
a team. Yeah, good
Is that
spot.
Koons?
Think so. Running in the 3rd spot. Koons off a little bit. at the exit of the final corner here, and that's brought Connor Attrell into the conversation.
Weirdly enough, we talk about how impeccable and clean this race facility is. Actually, offline, it does look a little bit dusty out there. We saw a lot of being kicked up on the formation lap before we even went to green today. So again, I think this is a test session here for Ricker, trying to get this car sorted out for the race later today.
Looks like Jeff back in the pit lane now. Looked like he was about to set the fastest lap of the race, which would have been important. That's how the grid is set for race 2. He had the overall best first and second sectors and then pulled into the pits.
Yeah, that fast lap right now goes to Jonathan Newdorf, and I think that's why we saw him pushing so hard, because he would have been getting the message in terms of what the fastest lap was, what the benchmark was, and he's pushed through enough here to have it by a tenth of a second or so over Coons, who will line up on the front row later today.
Report from DJ is it is again a boost-related issue for Jeff Ricker that's brought him to the pit lane. Costantino in the pit lane now as well.
As we mentioned, they had to change the complete wiring harness, and again, JMF just so amazed literally at the support of Toyota. They said, you know, we run other cars with various programs that they're involved with, and sometimes there's just not those sort of parts available. They went to Toyota and said, oh yeah, we've got one of those, no problem, we'll bring it right over.
Yeah, really exciting what the future might hold for Toyota and this car that debuted back at Sonoma at the start of the season, and it's come on leaps and bounds over the course of 2025. Got that big win at VIR, and right now, Newdorf in firm control in the sister car, 3.5 seconds clear of Alana Carter, whose debut continues to be a really impressive one. I think surprising herself a little bit based on my conversation with her and how quickly she's adapted to the car and the track, but did say having some seat time at this track previously has been a big boost.
Yeah, I think if you've got, you know, just one variable out of the way in terms of having that track knowledge, then you're just focused on adapting to a new car. That is huge. When you come to a new circuit, you don't really know where the limit is anyway. You're trying to find that with a car you're unfamiliar with is a bigger task. But she's doing a great job here. Doesn't seem to be rattled at all. Just seems to be hitting her marks. And this is a racetrack you have to be so precise. It's so technical. You really have to set up these corners. If you overcharge the entries with some of these switchbacks, get you right offline, then you're hitting a crest as you're exiting. Got too much steering input in the car, can really give you some problems there, but she's done a really nice, clean job so far today.
Report from DJ real quick is an electronic issue for Costantino. Antonio reported that the car just shut off on him, and that car is shown as in the pits and possibly out of the race at this stage. But back to Alana Carter, who has seen her advantage over Eric Coons start to slip away. She's been a pretty adaptable driver over the course of her career, driving on dirt tracks and everything from a front-wheel drive Accord to 620 horsepower super late models. Dirt tracks, paved ovals, then went road racing. She's raced Radicals, GT4 Lotus. In fact, she was telling me she was one of the first drivers to ever, she and her teammate were there for the race debut of that GT4 Lotus Amira in the UK. So that's a big departure from what she had driven before. And now jumping into the front wheel drive touring car and doing a really solid job, running in second place right now, but has her hands full with Eric Coons, who is down in third. Well, sounds like Antonio Costantino is out of the car. Let's hear from him now.
Antonio, out of the car, obviously some problems there. Can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, we were just getting some power cuts, and you know, the engine takes a while to kick back in. Eventually on the front straight, it just wouldn't come back in unless I restarted it. So, you know, we were already so far back, and it's just, you know, we want to diagnose the problem. That's about it. We've got points, so it's all that matters for this race, but we're going to try and focus on the next one, make sure the car is all good.
How was the car feeling before that happened? I mean, your teammate doing a great job up at the front of the field. Got to feel good for you and the rest of this JMF Toyota camp.
Yeah, for sure. The car's got pace. You know, just a bit frustrating, the situations we were put in. Obviously, you know, the traffic with the other cars and a bunch of marbles on my tires made some vibrations. But, you know, after it got cleaned up, I was able to start closing in on the guys in front. They were battling as well, so that helped. just going to root for Jonathan for the rest of the race and, hope we can come away with a team win.
They've still got 2 more races to fight on the rest of this weekend. We wish them luck. Thanks, Antonio.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to hear from him from Vancouver, British Columbia, runner-up in Canadian F1600 a season ago, but transitioning to front-wheel drive touring cars, and best finish this season, 5th place, race 1 at Road America the last time out, but just gaining that experience, and they'll have 2 more opportunities at it later on this weekend.
Yeah, it's a great program that JMF, through John Farrow's, obviously, investment and commitment to the program, is doing for these young drivers. Oh, a little mistake there by Coons. I just saw Carter make a mistake about half a lap ago. She got really wide through turns 15 and 16, just overdrove the car a little bit. And with these cars, you really got to keep them kind of under control. They will not withstand like kind of overcharging the entries to these corners. And Coons there just got a little bit wide as he came down through the museum turn.
Coons once again with some support from Man-Made, Min's undergarment producer. And that's been a good little side hustle from Eric over the course of this season, introducing that brand to motorsports, putting together a really solid day at the moment, running in 3rd and putting pressure on a driver he has raced quite a bit over the years. Looking for his 2nd podium of the season, but first since race 2 in a triple header at Sebring. He's got to keep it together, though, Cal.
He did, full send there, and it's a unique corner coming through turn 1. You kind of plunge down the hill as a blind entry. You commit to the corner. There's a compression on the other side on the ramp up to turn 2, but it's almost too late to act as a safety net and give you that grip, and he got out there wide and got 2 wheels in the grass there as he went into the brake zone for turn 2.
Scary stuff. Good time to have a Mittens underwear sponsor, right? You got to get a replacement pair.
Hopefully he's comfy.
Well, we know he is. But puts that behind him and focuses forward once again on trying to chase down Alana Carter.
Carter's really aggressive there over that curb there in turn 8, really charges it in, doesn't overslow the car, but then keeps it nice and neat and tidy as you turn through that final apex to start re-accelerating up through this higher speed section here. Fastest part of the racetrack is right here on the entry to turn 12. Beautiful, right there. It's a little bit blind as well, and if you got steering input in the car, it's going to loosen it up as you finish that corner.
Really challenging track, throws a lot at you. Jeff Ricca back out on track now, running in 8th place, but with PJ Gronke only in 6th, this would be enough for Jeff to clinch the title. I'm sure not the way he dreamed of doing it, especially having won pole position for the race today, but he's done enough this season to be in a place where he can clinch with 4 races still to go.
As you observed, Ryan, he did lay down a couple of quick sectors. He got the fastest Sector 1 and Sector 2 of the day so far, despite really not putting a complete lap together as to try and diagnose exactly what's going on with his race car. But if he stays out there, he might be able to pinch that pole position away for the race number 2 here this weekend from Neudorf, who currently has it at 1:37.072, being that fast lap of the day so far.
Coons would start 2nd at the moment at a 1:37.1, so his best lap is only a 10th and a half off of what race leader Jonathan Neudorf's been able to muster, and he's done that while running in traffic. Connor Attrell actually would be 3rd quickest, with Carter 4th fastest, I think, or as PJ Gronke would actually be in the mix there too. Problems here. This is Taylor, FTG Racing. Another car slow on the pit straight.
Yeah, hopefully you can just get to that crest there and kind of cruise down the hill and pull over to the left out of harm's way.
Now again, great opportunity here for Chris. Pretty cool livery on that car too. But hopefully it's not a major issue and something they can work out ahead of race number 2.
See, and here the tires working overtime through turns 15 and 16 before you make that final left on this front straightaway.
Remarkably, we're seeing personal best sector times coming in this deep into the race, which speaks to what Pirelli has brought to the equation. But PJ Gronke just did his best sector 1 Klimas and Neudorf both with personal bests in Sector 2, and Klimas just did his best third sector as well.
Yeah, I mean, the last lap for Neudorf, our leaders, was only 2/10 off his best of the day, which continues to be the fast lap.
Watching Connor Attrell running just off the podium in 4th and starting to reel Eric Koons in a little bit. Haven't seen Connor since the Sebring triple header weekend, where he did have a 2nd place result in the 3rd of those races, 4th in the other 2, and also was with us at Circuit of the Americas earlier this year. Now looking in at James Klimas, who's putting in a nice day in the 5th position. This is that same Toyota Corolla, but driving with the Skip Barber Racing team.
You can see him fire over the hill there, using plenty of curb through the middle part of that. And just really got to keep it nice and neat and tidy. You don't want to be scrambling with understeer there coming on that high-speed sector.
New fastest lap of the race. Right on cue, Jeff Ricca steals it away by less than 1/10 of a second. First driver down into the 136s at a 136.999. Compare that to Neudorf's 37.072. So there's some bragging rights for Jeff and something to put a smile on his face, in addition to the fact that he is almost certainly going to clinch the title here in just over 3.5 minutes.
There's a great battle here for that final podium spot, though, between the two teammates, Koons and Attrell. In the meantime, Carter has just escaped their clutches. She looks really comfortable there for that runner-up position now, about 6.3 seconds back of Neudorf. Continues to lead and continues to push. He just went personal best sector 1. He probably got the message that Rick has got that fast lap. If you want pole, you've got to try and lay one down here. Not much time on the board.
No, just a couple laps to try and do it. We'll keep tabs on that, but in the meantime, watching as Connor Attrell has run down Eric Koons. Attrell, a race winner in this series, back to last year, where he finished 2nd and then won the penultimate and then final races of the season at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Good fast lap by Rick. He's lowered the mark down to a 36.7. Neudorf not personal best in sector 2, so I'm not sure he's got enough in the tank, so to speak, to get that pole position back and fast lap of the day.
And that figures to be a big story. Looking ahead to tomorrow, his lead is 7 seconds over Carter, who is just a couple minutes away from finishing 2nd on debut. What a story that would be. But who joins those two on the podium is still to be determined. Koons has that final spot, but here comes Connor Attrell now, as close as he has been over the course of the race here today.
Yeah, and he's got a couple of laps left here to work with, and he is ever closer there, eating on that rear bumper of Koons there, trying to force his way through. Does he keep it clean? This upcoming next break zone is probably the prime overtaking opportunity on this Barber Motorsports Park circuit. Goes to the high line. Going to try and do the crossover, just see if he can get a good, really clean exit and time it. But Koons does a good job there as well.
Able to fend off the challenge there in a turn known as Charlotte's Web because of the big spider sculpture that is located just outside of the corner. One of several memorable pieces of decoration, let's say, placed around the track.
I don't see Georgina hanging around these days. I thought she'd been replaced, but I didn't see her there under the bridge, did you?
I did not. I know that she was back in April after making a unexpected appearance during the IndyCar race 2 years ago, or not this year, but the year before, let's say. But I haven't seen if she's back in position or not here this weekend. This is the somewhat infamous mannequin who dropped onto the track during the IndyCar race. There she is.
Oh,
there's confirmation.
there you go.
A slightly new get-up for Georgina this year, but
New heels, it looks like.
yeah. White flag waves. Jonathan Neudorf already has seen it. Carter has come through 7.5 seconds behind, and then it's this battle for the final step of the podium. Koons and Attrell.
It's a really important here for Koons to really get good exit here not give Trell a sniff going into that brake zone coming up.
This is that great passing opportunity. Coons goes on the defensive once again. Leaves the outside lane open for Trell to try to late apex and maybe get the crossover going. Puts the power down and scoots out wide. Has to lift out of the power, and that might be just enough for Coons to hang on to the position.
Yeah, he's really dancing the car there into that brake zone and just missed it a little bit, missed his marks. He tried to just chase the throttle and just lost the front end immediately and lost ground, in fact.
Hard fought, though, that final step of the podium for the Rika Autosport teammates. They're set to finish second, third, and fourth, but JMF Motorsports showing the way. Jonathan Neudorf just a couple of turns away from his second win of 2025. Started second when misfortune befell the pole sitter Jeff Ricca. He took command of the race and never looked back. Jonathan Neudorf is a race winner once again in TC America, powered by Skip Barber. The JMF team will celebrate their second victory of the season. Alana Carter comes home in second place. What a result for the debutante. And Eric Coons holds on to complete the podium in third place. Trell will settle for a hard-fought fourth.
What a run when you think about it for JMF, dating back to Road America. Won the Pirelli GT4 race,
Yep.
GT World Challenge. Now they open this weekend with a victory in touring car.
Eighth place is not what Jeff Ricca was hoping for when this race started, and he was on pole position. But it's been a dominant season to this point in 2025, and it's more than enough to clinch a second consecutive TC America championship. Jeff Ricca and the Gin Racer team take eighth place in the race, but they take the 2025 title. Congratulations to Jeff, backing up his TC championship of a year ago with a dominant run to the title here in 2025.
Yep, I think he put a cherry on the top there with that fast lap. That was a nice recovery and a great strategy by the group just to really utilize the remaining minutes in this race to get the car sorted. The car looks quick, and maybe try and get back to victory lane later today.
It seems like they've got to the bottom of whatever the cause of the turbo issue was, and for Jeff Ricca, pole position for race 2. And the championship done and dusted. That should also put them in the catbird seat for the teams and manufacturers titles, which means as much to Jeff as the Drivers' Championship does. This long-standing association he's had with Hyundai, and it continues to grow year on year. A lot of exciting things coming in the future there, too.
Look at that dust offline. I saw it on the formation lap, and now we get the cars kind of wandering around, trying to get some pickup on the tires. That adds to the ride height and weight when these cars go through post-race test.
Provisional race results. It is Neudorf by 8.2 seconds, taking the win. But how about the debut from Alana Carter? Eric Coons completing the podium in third. Then Trell Klimas matching his best results of the season, comes home in fifth. PJ Gronke looked like might have had a chance to keep the championship on life support, but the drive-through penalty for changing columns coming to the green flag proved very costly, and he could not overcome it. Ended up sixth. Taylor had some issues, as did Ricca, as we chronicled. Antonio Costantino, we heard from him. Electrical gremlins, they'll have to get to the bottom of that, and they don't have a ton of time in which to do it, with race 2 still to come later on today. Now that is the way they cross the line. And for the second time this year, Jonathan Neudorf has parked the car in victory circle and will celebrate a race win in TC America, powered by Skip Barber. Really impressive young man. He's pulling double duty, also racing in Pirelli GT4 America, so he's got another race to come today. 2 triple headers for him.
Yeah.
He's as busy as anyone this weekend.
Certainly is, but he's a fit young man, so he's up to the task for sure. He'll be pumped.
And there is Alana Carter. You can see how excited she is. Got this opportunity relatively last minute, had never sat in the car before arriving here this weekend, and is immediately on the podium in her first race in TC America. Jonathan Neudorf, though, takes the win, which means he gets to chat with DJ.
Winner's cap coming on. Gotta get it adjusted to get it perfect, but another win on the season. It's got see you back here.
Yeah, no, it feels great. We worked so hard to get the car where it is, and I think this track suits us a little better. I'm excited to get a win. We got 2 more races, so hopefully we can do something there. Can't thank JMF, AlphaJet.
Apologies for the technical issue there, but Jonathan Neudorf kind of got a little glimpse of what he was trying to say. Felt like they had a good car, and hey, came out on top. That was pretty dominant. The only thing they didn't get was that fastest lap.
Yeah, I think it could be a great duel here later today for race 2 of this weekend with Jeff Ricker's car hopefully healthy 100% for the full race. See how they can duke it out with the lead Hyundai, you'd have to say, in terms of pace here this weekend, going up against that Toyota. But he was focused forward. He said we've still got 4 races left on this season. He wants to get back to victory lane again. He's not satisfied with just 2 so far on the year for Neudorf.
How cool is that? Jeff Ricker on the right just secured his 2nd consecutive championship, but first thing he does is goes to celebrate with his new driver, Alana Carter, give her a big hug, share a moment there. And now speaking, I believe, with Connor Attrell as well. Again, this is what it's all about for Jeff. It's the team, it's the manufacturer first, and if he can have some success as a driver too, well, then all the sweeter. But there you look at the provisional point standings, and with a lead well over 100 points with just 4 races to go, Jeff is provisionally your 2025 TC America champion.
Yeah, absolutely. And look how it's tightened up there between 2nd and 3rd with Neudorf's win and PJ's drive-through. Suddenly it's tight, 13 points separating those 2 cars.
PJ did have a good best lap. He will start in the 2nd row, so that is plenty close enough to try and take the fight to Jonathan Neudorf and Jeff Ricker, for that matter, in the race later today. But PJ's got his hands full, it seems like. Neudorf's coming on strong, and so is both team and car with JMF and that Toyota Corolla. Looking at some of the others further down in points, a lot of partial seasons this year. We've seen a revolving door of drivers in the Ricca Autosport cars, but that's given us the opportunity to welcome some new talent into the sport and see some impressive debuts. Gibbon Kim probably as strong as anyone with the way he was able to win races on debut at Circuit of the Americas, but I'd put this first race from Alana Carter with just about anybody else that's made their debut this year.
Yeah, super impressive because, as we said, the other drivers around here from the same team have a ton of experience with this race car. So she had a big smile on her face. She'll be pumped as the lead Hyundai in the race here today. 8 seconds back of Neudorf, who continued to punch it forward. I think he was trying to grab that fast lap. I think that's what kept him up on the horse, kept pushing rather than just managing the gap. And he was certainly getting the message that Ricker had got a car healthy again and laid down that fast lap.
Yep. Trell showed good pace there, especially late in the race. Really looked like he was looking after his tires nicely to be able to go on the attack late in the going. And then James Klimas, you know, we haven't talked a ton about him over the course of the year, but he's always there at the end. Never seems to put a wheel wrong and matches his season best result.
Yeah, really strong performance for him. He had that little technical issue where we saw the car slow momentarily, but all good there. And lots of bench racing going on now. It seems like everyone had a good time out there. John Fergus, he's just such a great race director to have in this paddock. Just big support for all of the teams, talks to the drivers regularly, just trying to get everyone to perform at their best level.
Yeah, he brings so much to this, having been on the driver's side of it before. You know, for those that don't know, his career in sports car racing was pretty stellar. Race winner, championship winner as well, and perfect guy to be looking over TC America from that position. I think we have a chance to hear from our new podium finisher, Alana Carter. I believe DJ has caught up with the new Ricca Autosport driver.
What a way to start off a series here in TC America, powered by Skip Barber. Alana Carter, a podium on your debut. This is great.
Yeah, I'm so stoked. That was a great race. First time racing a front-wheel drive car on a circuit, so like I literally drove the car for the first time ever on Thursday and was just like, well, I guess we're gonna figure this out. Ricca gave me a phenomenal car. It did not step a foot wrong the whole race. It was so perfect. Everyone was awesome to race with. respectful but competitive. And I'm just, I'm so happy to come out on the podium on my first ever race with you guys.
Well, we could certainly tell just how excited she is. And we're now going to go over to talk to our champion-elect, Jeff Ricca. Not the way you wanted to get the championship, but 2 on the trot still got to feel pretty good.
I mean, a championship is a championship, right? So it was still good because it's a win-win. We have Alana, first time in a front-wheel drive car, killed it, absolutely killed it. So it just shows a lot of potential that we can bring to our program. And for our drivers, just a showcase. So we did another championship. This 2 years in a row. Will I make it a third one? I don't know. But this is still a good moment that we can all embrace as a team and for the manufacturer. So just shows, how strong we are, and it's only up from here. Just keep on going, and next year's going to be even stronger. So
a stronger next year sounds like a real challenge for the rest of this TC field. That is your podium and your championship, Jeff Ricca.
Appreciate it, TJ. Maybe hinting that his racing days could be coming to an end. I don't know. That's hard to believe.
Yeah, end of a season, you're a little bit tired, but you get that off season about a month and you're ready to go again, I think.
Yep, exactly. And Jeff's driving as well as he ever has. This has been such a dominant season. I mean, we talk about the points lead that he had built up already. He had never finished off the podium all year until this race here. That's how strong he's been. And of those races, all barring 3 had been wins coming into the weekend. So, again, about as stout as a season as you could imagine.
Yeah, it really has. But I'm still excited, as Neudorf related to. We could just about hear him say, I'm looking forward to the next 4 races. I am too, which starts in just a few hours' time here today. See how Neudorf against a healthy Hyundai with Ricca compares here today.
Yeah, it should be fun, and maybe a chance to hear from Jonathan now. Apologies for the technical issues earlier, but maybe a chance now to hear from the race winner.
Technical issues aside, it's still a very happy Jonathan Neudorf down in Victory Circle. Your emotions after a second win on the season?
Yeah, I mean, it feels great to get the second win, and especially at Barber where we got a triple header. It feels good to have a strong car, so I'm excited for the next 2 races. I'm happy for the team, for Toyota. Everyone works so hard to try and develop the car, and we're making steps every weekend. Even if it's baby steps, we're still making steps forward, so that's good. So I just can't thank everyone at JMF, AlphaJet, Nuterra enough for opportunity to be here, and I'm excited for tomorrow.
We're excited to see you out on the track. That's your winner, Jonathan Neudorf.
Great to hear from him. Congratulations, second win of the year, and they continue to progress weekend to weekend. It should be fun, even if the championship is done and dusted, to watch the battle at the front of the field for the final 4 races of the season. Highlights of the first race of the triple header weekend for TC America. PJ Kroenke, big move early on, going from 5th on the grid to 2nd, but he was deemed to have moved too early. Drive-through penalty cost him dearly. He would finish 6th today. Jonathan Neudorf took control of the race from the get-go. Jeff Ricca had some technical issues on the formation laps, and that cost him because he was set to roll off from pole. Still was able to secure an 8th place result and take home the 2025 championship. Neudorf, though, in control, really untroubled for this race. Had the fastest lap of the race for a long time. Ultimately, though, Ricca did take that away. He'll have the pole for race 2 later today. But for the second time this year, Jonathan Neudorf takes home the victory in TC America, powered by Skip Barber. But the 2025 crown goes to the Ricca Autosport driver and team owner, Jeff Ricca, champion in 2025.